It's almost like God designed men and women to have specific roles and we should follow those. And when we don't, things fall apart. It's almost as if that's the case. Women are just going to have to acknowledge that it's not men's fault that we as women are so miserable. We're gonna have to acknowledge that we're working against our biology and that's why we are miserable. So ladies, retire, have kids, take care of your home, and just love on your husband. What is up, you guys, and welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, we discuss all things culture and politics, and in today's video, we are going to discuss why are modern women so miserable. If you spend any time at all on X, I'm sure you have seen this video right here going viral. This video went viral on TikTok not too long ago, and it's now making its rounds on X. And yes, we will be discussing it. But before we get into all of that, please make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you feel so inclined. You don't have to, but you should. Be sure to follow my TikTok and other social medias in the description down below. And if you like this video and feel like supporting my work, you can donate via a super thanks or by subscribing to my subscriptions for as low as $5 a month. And with all of that out of the way, let's get into the mess, shall we? It seems that women in our holy year of 2025 are simply miserable. Is the blame on women or is the blame on men? Perhaps it's both. Well, we're gonna get into all of that. So I figured we could start by taking a look at the video that is making its rounds on X. Let's take a look.
I've been with my husband for almost 20 years, but about 3 years ago, I was strongly considering divorce, and I want to talk to you about why. So I'm going to tell you the story of the day where I thought to myself, maybe I don't want to do this anymore.
Okay, right off the bat, I mean, divorce? That's a strong word. Divorce is not something I would ever consider in my marriage. So the fact that this modern woman is going to consider divorce as a solution is crazy, right? I mean, 50 years ago, if women had TikTok, I doubt you'd hear them broadcasting that they might be considering divorce. Yet, for some reason, it seems like this is very common in this day and age. I feel like it is not rare. I mean, when you think about it, you guys, divorce used to be very rare and frowned upon, and now it's obviously something that happens all the time. Divorce is quite normal. It's been normalized. And if you're a Christian, you don't want that to be the case, right? You want people to be taking their marriages seriously. So I'm willing to hear her out and what she has to say. So let's see.
My husband and I had 4 kids. We both worked full time. We had been together for 16 years at this point. We've been together since high school. And on paper, I have an amazing husband. He is incredibly supportive. He's kind. He's loyal. He's a great dad. He's very hands-on. He's an active participant. He's always present. Like, on paper, what else could I ask for? But in reality, my experience is very similar to the experience of other women. I had this amazing husband who on paper was great, but I was incredibly frustrated and burnt out from our marriage and from motherhood. Because what happens to so many of us is that we marry these amazing men and we have amazing relationships and then we have kids. And when we have kids, women tend to carry a disproportionate amount of the work in the home, the work of raising kids, and the mental load. And that is exactly what happened to us.
You know, I think that's a fair statement. Modern relationship dynamics don't make any sense because feminism has sold this lie to women that they can balance having a career, having kids, and having a marriage. As many of us have lived and realized, all of that, it's not quite doable. No, it isn't, because women, we're not men, okay? And before we get any further, we have to have the conversation about biology. I know none of you want to talk about it, right? But we have to, because it's the reason why we as women or you as men are the way we are. We have to understand hormone cycles. Yay! Let's talk about hormone cycles. I know none of you want to talk about it, but it's really important. In fact, it's so important that I believe it should be being taught in health classes all over America. I think it should be a prerequisite to marriage that each sex understands the other sex's hormone cycle. That's how important I believe all of this is. Firstly, we'll discuss the male hormone cycle. All right. Men experience their hormone cycle on a 24-hour basis. Okay. If you're a woman who's ever been in a relationship, I'm sure you've experienced your man waking up and feeling particularly special towards you. I know you know what I mean. That's because that is how the male hormone cycle works. It's within a 24-hour period. All of the things that we feel as females, men feel within 24 hours. And that's why men are able to handle so much more than women. Because women, us on the other hand, our hormonal cycle is within a 30-day basis. Yeah, I know. It's not fair. But it's just the way it is because God designed us as women to produce life. And unfortunately, when you are given the privilege of creating life as a female, you're going to have to deal with a lot of emotions, okay? Because our hormonal cycle is a 30-day period. Our hormonal cycle is so long and so vast that we actually have phases within it. We have the ovulation phase, the follicular phase, the luteal phase, and all of these phases mean different things for women. It basically breaks down like this. The first 2 weeks of the month, aka the first 2 weeks of your cycle, as a female, you feel great. You have energy, you're motivated, your libido is high, right? Because underneath it all, your body is preparing you to make a child. Unfortunately, to make up for that, within the second half of your cycle, you are miserable. All right, you're irritable, you're angry, you're depressed, you're all over the place. There's no other explanation for it than it's just biology and it sucks. But it's important to understand. In fact, it's so important that I believe this should be being taught in schools all over America. I think it should be required learning because understanding the female hormonal cycle will not only help marriages and relationships, but it will help women understand why we are the way we are and why we feel so deeply and why our emotions are all over the place. I know I can't be the only woman that's been incorrectly diagnosed as bipolar because my feelings go like this. I know I can't be the only one. It is not, in fact, bipolar. It is your hormonal cycle, okay? And understanding the differences here will help you get through life. And that is why I feel it is critical learning for both men and women. And no man or woman should be getting into a relationship without understanding the opposite's hormonal cycle. So now that we have laid all of that groundwork out and we understand that biology is working against us in relationships as men and women, we can continue and hear this viral lady out.
3 months after my fourth baby was born, I remember looking at my husband and saying, I need more. I need you to do more. I am exhausted. I am in charge of everyone and everything in this house. Every night when we cook dinner, you ask me what to make. Every day when you drop off the kids at daycare, you ask me what they need in their backpacks. I am the project manager of this home and I need you to do more. And he looked at me and he said, okay, just tell me what to do, right? Every woman has heard this. Just tell me what to do and I'll do it. And I said, okay, something that would make my life easier is if in the mornings when I came downstairs with the 4 kids, because I do mornings by myself, the dishwasher was emptied, the dishes were put away, and the trash was taken out. That would make my life so much easier because when I've got the 4 kids running around and the baby crying, I can't be looking for their favorite water bottle in the dishwasher. I just need to know it's clean. And he said, yeah, of course. What? Yeah, I'll do that. That's no problem. And so, of course, he does it. But then I have to remind him, and then he forgets, and then I have to remind him again. And there was this one morning where I woke up, and I went to put something in the trash, and it was overflowing. And I went to get my son's water bottle and it was in the dishwasher with all the other clean dishes. And I felt so disrespected and unseen and unvalued at that point in time. And I remember texting my husband being like, what happened? Like, why didn't you do this? And he said, sorry, I was running late for work. And I remember thinking, oh my God, he doesn't see me because what he's done has now made me late for work. And he doesn't care about that. He doesn't care about the impact on me.
I see. Okay. Yeah. So this is exactly why feminism has lied to you, women, and convinced you that the way things are in 2025 are normal and aspirational when they're not. Because let's be honest, all right, if it was the man in her situation, I think that he could handle taking care of the house and working, because men are biologically built to withstand more. It's literally that simple. But when you put a woman in that place and you expect women to not only raise children and be a homemaker, but also work full time and bring in money, yeah, things are gonna fall apart. It's literally that simple, because women, I hate to break it to you, but you have to understand that our biology is working against us, okay? As I just explained, we have a very different hormonal cycle. We can't handle it all. And instead of trying to handle it all and then putting the burden on our partners or husbands, we just need to accept that we can't. We can't work a job, raise kids, and take care of a home. It's just not happening. And I hate to say it, but we are going to be miserable in life. The majority of us. Like, of course, there are exceptions to the rule when it comes to this, but the majority of us, 80% of us, we just can't handle it all. Our biology is working against us. And it's no wonder to me that she is taking her husband for getting this very small thing of not emptying the dishwasher very personally, because that's how women are, okay? We're highly emotional. Again, it comes from our hormones. Like, there's a reason we are the way we are. God designed us this way, okay? He designed men and women very differently to complement each other, not to be competing against each other. But in modern times, thanks to feminism and the globalists and whatever you want to call it, right? That's where we're at. Because women and men, to some extent, have been gaslit into thinking that women can do it all when we can't. She's right. It is a disproportionate amount of work. It actually is ridiculous to expect women to work a full-time job, raise multiple children, and be a homemaker. That's actually insane to expect of a woman. It is. But that's what feminism and the globalists and whoever have convinced us is normal. Newsflash! Our hormonal cycles say differently. And I know that times are hard. Thanks to Joe Biden, the economy is not exactly set up to just support a single income earner for the household, but we are not built for this. It's actually not on the man and not on her husband at all. Women are not built to handle all of this. And instead of trying to convince ourselves that we are and that we can do it all, we need to just come back down to reality and understand our capacity in life. Let's continue and see what else she has to say.
Doesn't see how every single thing in our home happens because I ask him to do it, or because I do it myself, or because I planned and organized it. The diaper bag is full because I filled it, right? I put the wipes in there. And I felt so frustrated. And I remember thinking, what's the point? What's the point of doing this with someone else? I might as well just do it alone. And it's not because my husband didn't love me or he did anything to me, and it's not because I didn't love him, but because I felt so taken advantage of in our relationship. And this dynamic, it doesn't happen by accident, right? It's not like my husband did it to me, but we've been raised in this society that tells men and women who they should be in marriages and what it looks like to be a good mom versus a good dad. And we know the bar for moms is way up here and the bar for dads is way down here. And we fell into these norms. We fell into these roles in our family, despite the fact that we never wanted to. And I'm lucky, and I say lucky because I have a partner who I know loves me and wants me to be happy and was willing and able to change. And so we did the work to figure out what equity looked like in our relationship.
Hot take! She's right. The problem is she's not addressing feminism's role in society and how that affects marriages and relationships in general, because if we could acknowledge that, that would change a lot of this for her. Women are expected to do more than we are capable of doing. They created feminism as a movement to convince women that it's liberating to work a 9-to-5 so they could tax your ass. It has nothing to do with anything more than fucking taxes. As usual, it all comes down to money and stealing as much from the American people as humanly possible. The hot take is that she's actually right. But what she and most of society is missing is that feminism is to blame for all of this. If women could just take the L and admit that we do not have the same capacity as men, all of this could end. All of this confrontation that men and women experience in relationships in 2025 could end. I know that it's hard to make it as a single income household, but that's just what we're going to have to do if we want to have marriages that last. And I'm not saying she's a saint. There's many things that she did wrong, including posting this video and publicly saying that she considered divorcing her husband over all of this. When we get down to it, that's what this is about. Hello, God's design is perfect for a reason. The faster that you can admit to yourself that you can't do it all, with very few exceptions, the quicker our society is going to heal. Let's finish this video.
Tell you now, 3 years later, that we are happier than ever. Our kids are thriving. Our home runs like a well-oiled machine. And that took a lot of work. I want to say it took like 18 months to get there. And it was well worth it. But it is not uncommon. And so if your wife is coming to you and she's saying, I'm burnt out by the mental load and I need you to do more, she's not just saying that because she wants you to do more chores. She's saying that because truly, it can hurt your relationship. It can ruin your marriage if you do not participate in an equitable way in your home. And so what does that look like? What does it look like to change these dynamics? Well, we need to really assess in our homes what the work looks like. Because in most homes, the data supports this, women do a disproportionate amount of the work. They just do. They do more of the cooking and the cleaning and the laundry and the childcare while also working full time.
And why do you think that is? Why do we think it is that women do a disproportionate amount of work in the household? Why do you guys think that is? It's almost like God designed men and women to have specific roles and we should follow those. And when we don't, things fall apart. It's almost as if that's the case. Oh my gosh, you guys. It's not that when you get married that men do less and women do more. No, it's that naturally women are inclined to do the homemaker role because that's what we're designed to do. And it's not a coincidence that it also lines up with our hormonal and biological cycles, you guys. At some point, we're just gonna have to admit that the power structures and these psyops have absolutely derailed society. I'm sorry, are women happy? No, that's what I thought. Women are just going to have to acknowledge that it's not men's fault that we as women are so miserable. We're going to have to acknowledge that we're working against our biology and that's why we are miserable. So ladies, retire, have kids, take care of your home, and just love on your husband. That is literally what we were designed to do, and we were designed to do that for a reason. There is no point in working against your biology. You can try all you want, but it will lead you nowhere good. Yes, there are exceptions. There are exceptions to every rule in society, but I guarantee you 90% of you watching this, okay, 90% of the females watching this, you're not a fucking exception. All right. And the quicker you can understand that, the happier you'll be.
Hurrah! Men have more time for things like their hobbies, like golf, for example, or just working out, running a marathon, right? And so we need to have hard conversations about what our time looks like, what our labor in the home looks like, what is invisible labor. We have to talk about these things. And when we don't, the alternative is that you no longer have a marriage, or you don't have a happy one at least. And so I share this story because I don't think I'm alone in this experience. And I want people to know that there's hope and that if you have a willing and able partner, you can change this. You can absolutely change this dynamic.
Yes, you can change the dynamic, actually. You can change it by quitting your job. Upon further investigation, her husband does one of the hardest jobs in America. He does the thing where he climbs the tower. You guys know, you've seen all those YouTube videos. I'm sure if you've spent any time on YouTube, you've seen the videos of the guys climbing the cell phone towers and like changing the light at the top. Okay, that is what her husband does. One of the hardest, most laborious jobs in America. Her expecting her husband to remember to take out the trash and change the dishwasher and all of that is ridiculous. I don't say this necessarily to nag on women. I do to some extent because, hello, some of you really need to wake up out of your feminist slumber and realize what is going on here, it's not a coincidence that marriages are dropping, divorces are rising, and men and women are generally unhappy in relationships. God designed men and women to be very different, but to complement each other, and the evil globalists and powers that be have convinced us otherwise. The sooner that we can return to our natural roles, the easier life will be and the more happier women will be in general. That is really all I have to say, you guys. Be sure to let me know all of your thoughts in the comments down below. Give this video a thumbs up if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel if you liked this content and want to see more. And I will see you guys in another video soon. And remember, God bless you and God bless the USA, baby. Bye, guys.